Okay, so I really didn't want to have to do this, but I feel like since Liz Katz doxed me and put out her video, I feel like I don't really have a choice because a lot of things were taken out of context, a lot of things were twisted, and I feel like I have to clear a lot of it up. So something I just want to make clear real quick is that I don't have an issue with Liz. I didn't want to bring her into any of this. I haven't tweeted at her prior to her doxing me. I have since, yes. But before any of this, I didn't have a problem with her. I'm sorry that she felt the need to get involved when she's pregnant. I'm sorry that she feels the need to do her boyfriend's dirty work for him. But yeah, so I didn't have a problem with her, and I'm sorry that she felt the need to do this. So I actually reached out to Liz after she put up her tweet, naming me, and everybody knew who I was then. I reached out to her on Instagram, thought maybe we could talk. She didn't reply to me. She just blocked me on Instagram, blocked me on Twitter. I guess she was just pretty adamant that she was making this video, and that was that. So yeah. So something I want to bring up real quick is Liz doxed me. I was private. Nobody knew my real name. I was using an alias because I didn't want to be public. I hadn't been publicly tweeting on the situation. I was just kind of sitting back, waiting for everything to play out. Liz doxed me, but I find it a bit hypocritical because she was the very one, when Sai spoke up, who discredited her by saying she doxes people, she can't be trusted, she's this, she's that. That makes you a bit of a hypocrite, Liz, because you have done the exact same thing. And I find it a bit strange too that when Sai came forward, you instantly jumped on her, had all this proof ready to go, proof that she was a liar and she's mentally ill, all this kind of stuff. You attacked her character instantly. My video comes out. 5 months later, you decide to make a video on it. Why did it take so long? And what, like, all you seem to have, no proof, just old tweets of mine taken out of context, which is something I really want to get into. But first of all, the main thing that I see people running with is saying that I was 20 in 2015. That is not true. Here's my ID. I'll put it up on the screen. I was born in 1998, which means I am 23 right now. I actually tweeted in 2014. I'll also put that tweet on screen saying, just sitting around being 16. So it was out there. I didn't try and hide my age or lie about my age. My age was there public on my Twitter. I didn't make out like I was a different age. But the tweet that Liz chose to take was one about me joking about being 20. And that's something I really want to explain because, I get, like, if that's the only tweet people are seeing, of course they're going to believe it and take it and run with it. The tweet that Liz posted says, I'm basically like 20 now, or I'm like 20 and I'm sitting, eating cereal or whatever. Have people never heard of an inside joke? Because that's all that was. A joke that me and my friends had. I'm not sure if you have heard, if you ever turned around to someone younger than you and been like, what are you, like 12? When they clearly aren't 12, it's just they're younger than you. That was kind of the same thing that we had going there. We were teenagers and Joe would be like, oh, I'm basically like 20 now, like I can do what I could do. It was a joke. We weren't literally saying like I am 20. Hence why in the tweets it says I'm like 20 or I'm basically 20, not I am 20. So that's the main thing I wanted to just clear up. I was not 20 back then. Liz has just taken tweets out of context. And speaking of tweets out of context, there is a lot of tweets that were taken out of context in that video. One of which I will hold my hands up. It does make me look very, very bad. That tweet being one I tweeted saying, "Enough dirt on you to murder you." That tweet was not aimed at anybody in particular at all. It was not a subtweet. It was not, no one's name was mentioned in that tweet. It was literally just a song lyric, an Eminem song lyric. I didn't realize that it was a crime to tweet song lyrics. It is not relevant to anything. It was not a threat to anybody. Also, Liz seems to think that because I was bar hopping back then, that must mean that I was 20 or however old. No. Again, taken out of context. I live in Ireland. I'm not sure if people that live outside of Ireland are familiar. We drink over here like a lot, and we can start drinking when we're young, and we can go into pubs when we're young, and we will get served. The people who work in the pubs, especially in small areas like where I live, they know you're underage. They will still serve you. Like, it's not a big deal to drink around here when you were young. So again, that doesn't prove anything. Yes, I was underage drinking. Also, the groupie thing. Seeing as this whole situation is about me being underage at the time and being a teenage girl, I think these tweets prove that I was, a teenager, acting like a teenager, doing teenager things. I was a teenage girl who fangirled over boy bands. I wasn't a groupie. I would, yes, those tweets are very embarrassing. I would tweet at celebrities. I would go to a lot of concerts. I still do go to a lot of concerts. I tend to get meet and greets. Like, I'm not a groupie. I just enjoy music and meeting my favorite musicians and stuff. Again, embarrassing, yes. Incriminating or anything, no. I would partake in like games that fandoms were doing, like, oh, could you make it like, Joe, could you be a groupie, and like who I'd ship you with, and that doesn't mean I was a groupie. It means I was a teenage girl, like, doing teenage girl things. And I think other tweets that she put out was about me lying about school. She claimed that I lied in my Ohmwrecker interview because I mentioned school. That is not the case. I think Liz has gotten a bit confused here. She thinks that because she's seen a few old tweets of mine that she suddenly knows everything about my life. Because I tweeted saying that I'm so glad I'm not in school anymore. Stuff like this. Like, I'm happy I dropped out of school. Yes, I did drop out of school when I was 15 going on 16. So there was a period of time where I wasn't in school. I was working instead. But I later returned to school and finished my education. So, again, I didn't lie. I did drop out of school and then I went back to school. So thinking that people, like, taking a tweet and thinking that you know everything about somebody, it doesn't work like that. Another thing that Liz is very adamant about is that her boyfriend, H2ODelirious, definitely asks every girl their age before he starts talking to them, because he asked her age when they started talking in, I think, 2019 the DM was from. Just because he asked her age in 2019 doesn't mean back then in like Joe 2015 Joe, and whenever he was talking to the other girls, it doesn't mean that he asked ages back then. I'm not saying he didn't ask other girls. I don't know their full stories. He didn't ask me my age. And I find it very, very convenient that those DMs just happen to be gone, because if he asked my age and the DMs were there, you could easily prove it. But no, of course, they just happen to be vanished. So there's a lot I want to talk about, but I also just want to kind of keep to the point here. My past with Delirious. This is what this whole situation is about. And if you want to hear all the little tiny details and nitty-gritty, my interview was on Ohmwrecker's channel. Liz claims that I was the one to initiate contact with Delirious, which, yes, is true to a degree. I was a fan of his. I said all this in my own interview. I got his merch and I took a photo in his merch and would tweet at him and reply to his tweets and stuff. I did not initiate the contact in DMs. His DMs were closed at the time. He had to follow people back to be able to have a DM conversation. I wouldn't be able to just DM him at that time. I'm not sure now when he had his Twitter what the situation was, but at that time I could not just go into his page and DM him. He followed me back after I tweeted at him one day, and he reached out to me in DMs, and he was the one to initiate the whole sexual contact side of things. He was the one asking for Skype sex. He was the one asking for nudes. Again, Liz cannot prove any of this. I, however, can, and people are going to be like, oh, show your evidence, show your evidence. I've said it a million times now. My evidence is with the authorities. It's not for Twitter to see. Twitter are not the police. And these are serious allegations of child pornography. So, yeah, that's how things happened with Delirious. Like I said, if you want to hear more on that, like, my interview is there. I'm not going to go into it all again now. So when this whole thing started this year with these allegations coming out, I put out a subtweet. This was before my own interview, before anybody knew that I was Sarah, before anyone knew that Sarah existed. I had seen the Keemstar stuff, and I tweeted saying, just because your girlfriend's pregnant now doesn't mean you're a nonce, because I had seen Delirious. He's such a family man, you know, like, how could he ever do anything bad when he has a kid? So I subtweeted, and almost instantly, bearing in mind I didn't have many followers on Twitter at the time, nobody knew who I was, I hadn't publicly named Delirious Liz, anything like that. I put up this tweet and almost instantly start getting threats from a private account. I got a message request. This was the Ray Harpy account. It was Ray Harpy at the time, threatening my daughter. And that is something that I'm sure any parent ever would not take lightly if their child was being threatened, or if they felt like their child was being threatened. It's not something you would take lightly. Of course, I went to the police straight away. I was scared for my daughter. And I kind of knew who it was, because isn't it a bit coincidental that the second I put up a tweet about this man, I started getting messages in my DMs when I never, you know, nobody would have reason to threaten my baby. So I went to the police. I gave statements, evidence, everything. And I was talking to people in the police department from the cyber side of things. I began talking to police about the exploitation side of things, me being underage when, you know, all this started, because obviously I had to explain why I was, you know, why I thought I was getting these threats and stuff. And Twitter, I was told by the police that Twitter were doing their own investigation into this account. It's not something they took lightly either. And something that really bothered me from Liz's video is she claims Delirious is so dumb, like, he can't even spell mountain. How would he make all these fake accounts and threaten a baby? Like, nobody gives a fuck about your baby. But then, like, 2 minutes later, Liz, you proceeded to say, oh, but Delirious was behind this account that was harassing people that were talking bad on him. Harassing people that weren't on his side. But for some reason, he would be too dumb to make this account, this alt account that threatened my baby. That doesn't really make sense to me. And whether you think he did or didn't do it, you heard TJV. He's seen the email himself. He knows that it was Delirious behind that account. I know that it was Delirious behind that account because I have been working with police. I have heard from Twitter. I have heard from the police. I have had this whole thing, not just because of the alt account, but because of the whole allegations that people said, oh, like, she clearly didn't go to authorities. It is still ongoing. I have had police, I have spoke to police from different sections. I have had police out to my house multiple times. I have given statements. I have spoke to police in Ireland, the ones that came out to my house. I've spoke to them on the phone. And I have also dealt with police in America that are dealing with the situation. Again, people are going to say, where's your proof? I cannot physically give that, and that's fine. People are going to be like, oh, she's clearly lying. That's fine. You can believe that if you want. Liz claims that this alt account, the Ray Harpy account, that then turned into the Survey Junkie Now account to, like, you know, play it off as, oh, it's just a spam account. Liz claims that this account could possibly be my ex, the father of my first child. I'm not with him anymore. She claims it could be him because he wasn't a nice man, and she found tweets where I was talking about him not being a very nice man. It's clear I do not like that man. So if I thought for 1 minute that it was him threatening my daughter, I would speak up on it. I would be like, oh, there's a chance that it could be him. Again, not something I would take lightly, and I would want to find out who was behind it, and get them held accountable. I would not defend my ex. Trust me, if I thought for 1 minute it was him. I have no contact with him whatsoever. I haven't since my son was very, very young, and I shouldn't even have to go into this because it's personal. It's nothing to do with this situation. He is not in our lives. We have zero contact. I don't even know where he is. We do not talk whatsoever. But if he did want to threaten me, he is not the kind of person, trust me, he is not the kind of person to hide behind an alt account. He would say it, and he would say it loud and proud, and he would not care what people thought of him threatening a baby. He would do it publicly, and he would not hide behind an alt account. But besides that, besides all the speculation of, oh, well, it could be this person or it could be that person, I know it was Delirious. I know 100%. I have spoke with Twitter. I have spoke with the police. It is proven that it is him. And Liz, you're saying, oh, I'm going to put out like the good, the bad, and the ugly on everyone, all sides. Well, then admit that it was Delirious behind that account. Like, you were quick enough to say, oh, okay, yeah, like, Joe, he made these stupid accounts. He was being stupid. He's so dumb. He, was disagreeing with people. Well, then he was quite capable of threatening my baby, and we know that it was him. But of course, you know how bad that is. You know he fucked up big time. And you know that if you turn around and said, oh yeah, you're hardly going to turn around and say, yep, my boyfriend threatened a 5-month-old baby when he is a father himself. When we have a small baby, he's out here threatening. You're not going to say that because you know how shitty it is. You know that it is the lowest of the low to bring someone's child into it. Which, again, is another thing I want to bring up. I think it is the lowest of the low to bring someone's children into any kind of drama. They are kids. They don't deserve to be involved in any of this. But what I find funny is your boyfriend, H2ODelirious, threatened my baby. We know that for a fact, and I'm sure it will all come out eventually. He fucked up, and it is what it is. Since you doxed me, people have flooded to my Twitter account, flooded to my Instagram, and have been commenting and tweeting replies to pictures of my children, saying those comments on a picture of my daughter saying, oh, she's stolen, this, that, and the other, you're kidnapping kids, you're raping people, all this fucked up stuff. Saying that my son deserves to be upset because I had a tweet up about saying he was scared and he was crying because we had our power out, and someone goes, good, he deserves it, or something along those lines. Either way, whatever it was, do you condone that behavior? Do you condone people talking on other people's kids? Because it's scummy. It's the lowest of the low. Like, is that the kind of people you really want backing you? Is that the kind of people you want speaking for you? And if I remember correctly, Ohm had a tweet up when all this started. Ohmwrecker tweeted, it wasn't even bad. He said that he just felt sorry for you and your baby. Having to be involved in all of this. That was not malicious. It wasn't bad. He genuinely felt sorry for you and your baby because, you know, it's not a nice thing, all this drama going on. And people jumped on him. People attacked him, saying, how dare you bring their baby into it and whatever. And he deleted the tweet in the end, even though it wasn't talking bad on your baby. Like, again, trust me, I would not want anything to do with anyone who talked bad on anyone's baby. But, you know, he was attacked for it. And I find it very hypocritical of these people saying, oh my God, how dare her baby be brought into it, but it's fine for them to bring my baby into it, my children. It's fine for, you know, like, it's not right. And it can't be, oh, well, it's fine to, like, bring her child into it, but not her child, you know? Kids should be kept out of it, end of, like, regardless of whose kid it is or whatever, kids should be kept out of the drama. Again, like, if that's the kind of behavior you condone, then that speaks volumes. Also, there's a lot I could bring up. You went digging into my past and brought up stuff. I could easily bring up your past. And I could sit here and I could be like, oh, well, you did this and you did that and you were involved in this scandal. And I'm not going to, because I don't think it's relevant to the situation. I don't want to assassinate your character. Like, I'm just not that pathetic, and I'm not going to stoop that low. But one thing I do want to mention is, again, people being hypocrites. So when Sai spoke up and came out with her allegations, her mental health was attacked an insane amount, because old tweets were found of her tweeting when she was in a bad place, and people took it and they spun it and said, oh, she's clearly mentally ill, she's clearly a liar, she cannot be trusted because she has mental health issues, which is disgusting. And my point here is, Liz, you had a video of something that happened to you at Burning Man. I really, truly, I'm sorry if, you know, this happened to you. The point I'm trying to make is, Liz, you have publicly tweeted about your own mental health issues before. Nothing to be ashamed of. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do here at all. I'm not trying to shit on people with mental health issues or, you know, bring up your trauma. Like, I'm not. Like, I'm just trying to make one simple point here is, you also have mental health issues, and you put out this video saying what happened to you. But if you're going to attack Sai and say she clearly lied because she has mental health issues, like, this didn't happen to her, people with mental health issues can't be trusted, she's clearly lying, then surely people could spin that and say, well, Liz, you could easily be lying about what happened to you at Burning Man because you too have mental health issues. And I just want to clear up, I just want to make it very, very clear, I'm not saying that it didn't happen to you. Like I said, I really am sorry if you did go through that. But my point is, it's very hypocritical of you to attack her mental health and say she can't, like, to discredit her. She cannot be trusted because she has mental health issues, when you too have mental health issues and have not made any secret of that. Like I said, it shouldn't be kept secret. Like, it's nothing to be ashamed of. But just don't be a hypocrite, okay? So I think I've kind of said everything I need to say here. I don't want to stretch it out. I don't want to bring up stuff that, you know, I don't want to get nasty. I don't want to be petty here. But basically, All I want to say is people can attack me on Twitter and call me a liar and call me names, call me fat. Like, I'm literally pregnant, so okay. They can call me a whore. They can call. I don't care. I do not know these people. I do not care what they have to say about me. They are probably teenage boys, with crusty socks on their floor. I do not care about their opinion on me whatsoever. What I do care about is the opinion of the police. So while people are attacking me on Twitter, you're wasting your time. All I want from this whole situation is for the truth to come out, and it will. And people are gonna be like, oh, well, when? Like, I don't know. I'm not the police. I'm working with the police, but I can't say what they're doing, what their every move is. What my biggest, like, people are like, oh, Jill, like, haha, she's getting so much hate. She deserves it, dumb bitch, whatever. That's fine, because that's the worst that's going to happen to me right now. Like, that's the most that's going to come out of the situation for me is a few people on Twitter don't like me. Not everyone's going to like me. I literally could not care less. What Liz and Delirious need to be concerned about right now is not slandering people on Twitter or YouTube or, any of that. What they need to be concerned about is the police right now. Because the opinion of their fan base doesn't mean shit. The opinion of the police does. And like I said, the police have all the evidence they need. People can say I'm lying. If I was, why would I go to the police? They would laugh me out of their office if I didn't have some sort of proof to back up what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I'm sure all this will come out hopefully sooner rather than later. I didn't want to speak on this to begin with. Kind of felt like I had no choice. I'm sure Liz will probably speak on it again when she sees this because she probably won't be too happy about it. But like I said, it is what it is. Hopefully I won't have to speak on it again. And yeah, that's all I have to say on the matter.